The more we know, the more problematic and disturbing that whole incident becomes. Don't you agree? We had some big news this week about the death of Obama's personal chef. Now, you may recall previously that Judicial Watch had uncovered through open records request and litigation that the news that we didn't know until Judicial Watch started poking around, that the Secret Service was involved in the rescue operation or the emergency response to the death of Obama's chef last summer in the pond, and it's a big body of water. Its pond makes it seem smaller than it is, at Obama's mansion up there in is it Martha's Vineyard? Yeah. And we also uncovered through our investigation and through our litigation that Obama himself was at the scene, the emergency scene, and was there for, it looks like, at least 2 witness interviews. So there was a woman who was with this chef who reportedly worked also for Obama. Actually, it's confirmed in these documents I'm going to talk about. And he was there for the witness interviews, which is unusual, or at least I found to be unusual. And we had some other details on it. But these new documents are pretty darn disturbing. And they're disturbing on a number of levels, but we'll get into that. And this is the headline. Secret Service records disclose agency boats inoperable for Obama chef drowning emergency. Did you hear that? The Secret Service is supposed to protect the President of the United States and former presidents of the United States. They have Secret Service protection under law. The Obamas have this gorgeous mansion, thanks to Netflix and big New York publishers and the usual suspects, on the water. And so the Secret Service obviously has boats that it uses for its protection, as part of its protective services to the former president. And they were inoperable, and I'll give you the detail here. And also the agency disclosed, so we had a lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security for this information. They gave us the last name of the witness who was with Mr. Campbell when he died. Her last name is Taylor. She's a white woman. She's described as a white woman who just recently begun working for the Obamas up there in Massachusetts. So here's what the document says. Let me get the documents out. This is what we get when we get the documents. You can't see it here. I guess it's too bright. You get a letter, cover letter, saying, here are these documents. And we got about, how many documents did we get? We got, let's see, 38 pages, I think. Yeah, 31 pages. We filed this lawsuit back in October, and after the DHS, which runs the Secret Service, is a sub-agency of the Department of Homeland Security, after that agency failed to respond to our August of 2023 request for Secret Service video recordings and other records relating to the death of Obama's personal chef. So, by the way, we know there's a video. There's a video the Secret Service has of Mr. Campbell and his companion entering the water, and then afterwards of the emergency response to news of his drowning. And they're refusing to turn that video over to us. We did find that out as well, so I'll talk about what we did find. But they don't want to turn the video over to us because they think it would divulge secrets related to the protection of the president and their processes related to the protection of the president, so they don't want to turn it over to us. And I think there are other reasons they don't want to turn it over to us, and you'll see, as you see, about the craziness with the boat. So here's the document. Let's go to page. So we got about 30 pages. Some of the documents we talk about the Secret Service's response to the media, and they were obviously tracking media coverage of this, and didn't strike to me to be relatively normal bureaucratic behavior. But we received some more reports about what happened that night. At approximately 1935 hours, I heard radio traffic, and this is from I don't know who wrote this because they block it out. I heard radio traffic from blank, and when I say blank, it means it's blocked out. You can see those little boxes with numbers on that page. Those are redactions and exemptions. Exemptions are regulations and under law that they assert to withhold information. So something is exempt from disclosure under section, B under section 552B7. That's usually law enforcement exemptions. So that's what they mean by that. Okay. Let me start over again. At approximately 1935 hours, I heard radio traffic from post blank at Special Agent blank, advising that a female had approached this post from the water's edge and there had been an incident in the water regarding a possible drowning. I immediately secured my post and rapidly moved to post blank location to assess the situation and assist. While moving to the location, I encountered Ron, agent, Special Agent blank, in his vehicle. I don't know what Ron means. It looks like it might be an official word. I entered his vehicle and we continued to move toward the post. So he hitched a ride. As we approached the location, we observed Special Agent blank with a white female near the boat launch area. Once we arrived, we determined that the female was one of the Obama blankety blank. She was noticeably hysterical, claiming that Tafari had fallen off his water paddle and sank and that he did not come up. She was referring to Tafari Campbell, Obama's head chef. Blank stated that she and Mr. Campbell had gone out in the water earlier this evening, each using a separate paddleboard with paddle. She claimed that Mr. Campbell fell off his paddleboard and began struggling in the water. She claimed she tried to help him out of the water onto the paddleboard. And that's, I think, a new detail, as I recall. But she was unable to pull him out of the water. She claimed that she witnessed him submerge under the water and not come back up. Blank believes she could not rescue Mr. Campbell and decided to look for assistance. She subsequently paddleboarded to the shoreline, which was approximately blank from the point of incident, so we don't know how far the shoreline was from where Mr. Campbell drowned, because they think that's law enforcement sensitive. She then ran across the Obama property and located Special Agent blank at post blank. So there's a post, I guess they didn't want to, I guess they have various posts where the Secret Service are on President Obama's property, and they're not going to tell us where those posts are. I understand why. Ms. Taylor, so they give us the name here, stated that Mr. Campbell was not wearing a life jacket and no personal flotation devices aboard the paddleboard at the time of the incident. And then he says, blank and I immediately took control of a boat that was anchored at the location. Well, that's interesting because immediate is an elastic term. Because in the other report, we get this detail. I'm going to find it. Just wait. Let's see who this report is. So this incident report is sent from someone, a John. Well, I don't know if it was who wrote the report. That's not clear. But what matters is what's in the report as opposed to who wrote it at this point. Okay, so this report talks about it at approximately 1900 hours. Special Agents blank saw a staffer blank and the chef Tafari Campbell come out of the residence on their way down to the water. They picked up two stand-up paddle boards and proceeded to the water on the Edgartown Great Pond. So it's a big body of water. So this is news too. I don't recall learning previously that the Secret Service agents two Secret Service agents had seen them enter the water. Approximately 20 to 30 minutes later, while in blank, I saw blank running toward me from the northwest, waving her arms frantically at me. I ran out of the booth and met her midway across the lawn directly in front of the residence. She collapsed on the ground and stated that Tafari had drowned. She stated that he fell in the water and struggled for a couple of seconds before giving up and sinking underwater. She had pushed one of the paddle boards toward him, but he was unable to grab it. I communicated to the command post that we had a possible drowning victim, Tafari, in the water. I stated that someone should alert 911 and EMS, Emergency Medical Services. I asked blank if she could come with to show where the incident occurred. She said it was too late, that he had drowned, but she would help. Within less than a minute, Special Agent blank and SSA blank, I think that's a supervisory special agent blank, appeared close by driving a SA blank car. And then he asked someone to watch his post, and they headed down in the car to the boat. So it looks like they all got into a car, went down to the boat. This is the kicker. SSA blank attempted to start one of the boats but had difficulties lowering the motor. I headed down with blank but told her to continue down and yelled to SA blank and SSA that I would run to get the keys for our United States Secret Service boat. I sprinted to the CP, the command post, grabbed the keys and sprinted back to the boats. A similar issue occurred with the motor on the second boat. We jumped into a third boat belonging to the groundskeeper, and it worked without issue. So I want you to think about that. They had an emergency. A man's life was on the line potentially, and they have these two boats, presumably there for emergencies, to help with the protection of President Obama, his family, and other guests and staff at the Obama compound up there, and the boats don't work. How do you like them apples? Now, was this delay in getting out onto the water, did it result in Mr. Campbell dying? I don't know. It's not clear from the timing. I mean, to be fair, it's not clear that he even was in a position to be rescued. He may have already drowned, and the woman was correct in her assertion, but I don't know. Maybe she was wrong. I don't know. But I want to know why it is there were two boats available to the Secret Service that weren't working, that should have been working. Now, those of you who are boaters, that you may know, and I didn't look this up, but I guess I should have. What they meant by not being able to put the engine into the water. So my guess is the engine is like popped out of the water in the back, right? And they have to put the engine into the water and then start it. And I guess they couldn't get it into the water. I don't know what was going on. So you can tell me below, if you're a boater, what you think that means or what you think happened. But inexcusable, right? Inexcusable. So if I'm Campbell's family, I'm like, what is going on with this equipment that malfunctions, safety equipment? And if I'm Obama and his family, I'm like, what's going on? I'm a former president. I've got this nice house on the water, and this equipment designed to help secure my safety isn't working in an emergency. Not one boat, but two boats aren't working, and you got to use the groundkeeper's boat? I mean, it's like you're driving down the road and the Secret Service flags your car down. Our car's broken down. Can you take us and the president to this emergency location? It's absurd. Now, other people will draw some more nefarious conclusions from this. But the documents show what they are, show what they say, are what they are, is what they are, is what they is. This is why we like getting these documents out for you to review, and you draw your own conclusions. So another aspect of this that I thought was interesting is that Obama seemingly interfering in the investigation. Well, no, interfering in the rescue. So I'm not going to read the rest of the report in that regard, but so they get in the groundskeeper's boat with Miss Taylor, and they're looking for the poor guy. So they get called back eventually in the middle of the search because Obama wants to talk to her. We continued our search with flashlights. Shortly thereafter, we were called to Wilson's Landing as FPOTUS, FPOTUS. Obama was there, and the local fire department, in conjunction with the Massachusetts Police Department and other local agencies, was setting up an incident command post. He wanted to talk with blank. The first EMS police response we saw may have occurred within an hour. I recall a small police department or fireboat scanning the shoreline just after it was getting dark. B6 and I, Taylor and I, got out at the incident command post, and she gave a quick brief to Obama, FPOTUS, who was asking questions. After this, we got back in the boat to continue the search. So Obama interrupts the search because he wants to talk to her. They still hadn't found the body. You know, and at this point, the reason the Secret Service is there's an emergency response is because they're trying to get her to rescue the guy, right? And I don't know enough about drowning responses, how long they give before a rescue response turns into a recovery operation. But, you know, there are other parts of these documents, and, you know, the Secret Service, you know, they work closely with this man. I mean, it's a personal chef of the Obama family, and they probably grew close to him. They're all working close together. So they, you know, it's like your workmate, really. I mean, you're providing protection to him, but you see them all around the house, the Obamas and such, and the Secret Service agents are being told that, you know, after this incident, you know, that you should get help if you need it, because it's traumatic. And I feel terrible for everyone involved, especially the family of Mr. Campbell. I mean, the poor woman who was with him. I don't know what was going on there, but she was with him, and it sounded, you know, it was a nightmare for her. And the Secret Service agents, who I'm sure were friendly with him and saw him around, and he's dead. And they were trying to, and he's reported drowning, and they're trying to rescue him. And Obama's wanting to talk to the key witness they're using to help rescue him. So that, oh gosh. So that, hold on, I got to get my document here. So this was a big story, as you might imagine. We had a lot of media coverage. I issued, you know, Judicial Watch posted this on Twitter. I posted it on my Twitter account. Let's show that tweet. That tweet received, you can see I talk about the boat. I think 5.1 million views. 5.1 million views. So there's a significant public interest in this. And it helps explain to me why the Secret Service doesn't want to turn over this video. I think it's in the public interest. It has to be weighed, obviously, against security concerns. I don't deny that. But I think the public interest demands that this be released. Now, whether a court's going to agree with us, it's probably going to be difficult to get out if they're asserting this law enforcement protective privilege or whatever variation they have on it. But Congress can get it too. But what was going on there? And, you know, what is the video going to show? Them running down to the water, then running back for the keys. And it's probably not going to be in the interest of the Secret Service, you know, to show that sort of Keystone Cop scenario that tragically occurred when they're trying to rescue this poor man. So we want the videos. The Daily Mail picked up on it. Let's see what the Daily Mail said on it. Ms. Taylor They quote 26 is identified as a staffer who was paddleboarding with Barack Obama's chef, Tafari Campbell, in unsealed Secret Service records, but also described the chaotic scene as agents scrambled to save him. So a big story. So let's see what other information arises from this. But the more we know, the more problematic and disturbing that whole incident becomes. Don't you agree? Again, uncovered by your Judicial Watch. The Secret Service is an important agency. I think it's poorly run. I mean, there's evidence of this in the sense that these two boats weren't working. I mean, isn't that a problem? Remember, they couldn't find the cocaine, the boats couldn't work, etc., etc. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.